And we're back. Welcome to another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Adult Small Business Owners and Entrepreneurs, the number one podcast for small business owners with small teams who need a place to figure out how to grow their business. And I am your host, best-selling author, Shadon Long. And today, man, we're talking about why J. Cole and Donald Trump are actually smarter than Rick Ross and Drake. So, if you've been following pop culture, social media, you know that two of the most amazing things last couple weeks have been the fact that Donald Trump is still not locked up, number one. Number two, still actually actively engaging in the attempt to become president. You would think with all the things that he's gone through, hey man, this guy's gonna get canceled, right? Right. And then, probably not equally, but, for a lot of people, the J. Cole apologizing thing is also like, wow, dude apologized. Meanwhile, over the weekend, Drake, Rick Ross, both dropped diss records. Now, I know you're probably sitting there going, now, what the heck does all of this stuff have to do with me as a small business owner? Because at the end of the day, man, it's the middle of the month. Bills are coming again really soon, and hey, man, I need to figure out how well I did the first part of the month. Let me repeat that one more time. It is the middle of the month, and I need to be paying attention to whether or not I'm close to reaching my goals, able to pay my next month's rent, able to meet the salary for the next 2 weeks. So those are the things I need to be focusing on as a business owner. So yeah, I need to be paying attention to that. But here's a small little thing that we can learn from J. Cole and Donald Trump. Now let me set it up with a story. Okay. So maybe a couple months ago, I was, doing what I do, researching for a client, and I started going down this rabbit hole of articles and realizing that during the Me Too movement and, during the height of the cancel culture, that a lot of companies were just out here making statements. We stand with Me Too, or we stand with, the alphabet community. Don't want to say them all right now. Apologies in advance. Or that we were going to denounce these certain people, whether it was R. Kelly, whether it was Harvey Weinstein, or whether it was Bill Cosby. So a lot of companies were just out there just denouncing people, making these statements, just to show that they, have some solidarity. Well, fast forward 18 months. What they realized is that some companies that were not standing in solidarity actually made more money. And a lot of the companies that did stand in solidarity, they actually didn't. Nothing happened. It didn't improve their bottom line. It didn't give them more market share. It didn't make it easier for them to have a profit or anything. You know, all they did was make a statement that realistically their particular group of customers didn't care about or didn't move the needle for their customer. So what I started to realize is as long as you're taking care of your customers, as long as you're meeting the needs of your customers, as long as you're making sure that you're making it easier, simpler, faster, less stressful for your customers to do the thing that they need done, that's all that really matters. You know, what organizations, what people you denounce, what pop culture trends you're trying to ride, it really don't matter. Because the main thing with your customer is, can they do the job? You know, whether or not you like, cancel, don't like a certain artist or a certain executive or a certain company, for a lot of people, it really just don't matter. You know, because what really matters to them is, hey, are you going to do the thing that your website says you do? So that brings me to the Trump and the J. Cole thing. Now, on one hand, you think, okay, well, how come Trump hasn't been canceled? Well, because the people that Trump serves, they don't care what the rest of the world thinks. They only care if he's going to help them. Now, you can say, hey, man, guy wasn't qualified. He shouldn't have been president. Yeah, but to the voters, he was their best chance of achieving the desirable outcome that they wanted to achieve. So, therefore, regardless of everything else happening around him or things that you may have said he did or didn't do. He was seen as the best solution to the problem. Okay, hey, we in middle America, we struggling. This guy says he's going to make America great again. Says he's going to get me out of this Walmart and get me back in a job that allows me to be upper middle class or middle class, takes me away from poverty, makes it easier for me to send my kids to college, makes it easier for me to put food on the table. I'm voting for him. Same thing for you. Okay. The focus and the main thing for you as a small business owner, especially when you have a small team, is to focus on the needs of your clients. Okay. And to do every single thing you can on your social media. Because again, social media is going to be recruiting talent. It's going to be recruiting customers. It's going to be recruiting people. How's it recruit people? Because they're looking for solutions to their problem. And if you position yourself, just like Donald Trump did, as the way to get the thing that they want, then they'll rock with you. They'll trust you. They'll believe in you. They'll vote for you with their dollar. So even though the rest of the world might be like, man, this guy, he's not the guy. Only vote that matters is the one their customers giving. So whether you have a degree, don't have a degree. Whether you have an office, don't have an office. Whether you have a brand new truck, don't have a truck at all. Can you get the job done? You could be the small little startup with less than 5 employees, but if you do the work and you do the work better than anybody else, faster than anybody else, with less stress than anybody else, you make it easier for your clients to get the results that they want, and you communicate that clearly with your social media, and then when they go to your website, you communicate again who you are, what you do, and you show them exactly where to buy. And if at that particular moment they're not ready to buy, you take their contact information and then you circle back with them because you know problems come in cycles and you just want to be there and be ready whenever they need you. You don't have to make all of these alliances. You ain't got to be cool with everybody. You ain't got to kiss a whole bunch of butt, go to a bunch of events just to be cool. Because the only people you need to be cool to are your clients, are your potential customers. So those are the people that you need to serve. So now let's jump over to the J. Cole thing. Now, a lot of people saw a lot of people over the last week and some change talking about, man, I can't believe this dude apologized. That's not hip hop. Hip hop's competitive, and how can you call yourself, one of the big three if you're not willing to compete? Da 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 da. You know who was saying that? People who don't buy J. Cole records. All of the people who were throwing shots and shade at J. Cole don't buy records, don't buy merch, don't go to Dreamville Fest, don't go see him on tour. So why would J. Cole care? So if he's going to put out music, he needs to put out music for his people, for his fans, for his tribe. Same thing that you need to do. If you're going to create content, you need to create content for your tribe. Not the naysayers, not the people who are around you critiquing you and couldn't do what you do if you gave them the blueprint to do it. You got to create that content for your tribe. So yeah, J. Cole apologizes. You're like, man, why would this guy apologize? Because he realized that, man, I'm only pandering to a bunch of people who are not gonna give me any money. I'm pandering to a bunch of people who, at the end of the day, are only here for the foolishness. They are not here to purchase a ticket. They are not here to attend an event. They are not here to partake of my services. And if I continue to pander to them, if I continue to feed them, then I'm starving my customers. Now, the reason I say that is because a lot of us are creating social media right now that doesn't speak to our customers. We're showing our vacation. We're talking about dating. We're talking about all of these things that are off brand. And brand is what people say about you when you're not around. So if you're creating social media that is primarily going to be watched by people who don't know you, And you're hoping that the people who don't know you are then going to see you on vacation and associate that with you being able to solve their problem. In the words of Kanye West, how, Sway? Remember, social media is a recruiter. You know, it is seeking out people who are supposed to do business with you and converting them into people who know you and know of you. Why? So that you can then get their contact information and ultimately develop a trust and rapport with them to the point where they trust you enough to give you money. You know, so again, beautiful business move by J. Cole. Why? Because if I create music and excitement and buzz for people who are anticipating me coming out, that are going to download it, that are going to go to the shows, then hey, guess what? I'm going to continue to make money. Meanwhile, other people, Rick Ross, Drake, you making records that nobody cares about, that nobody's gonna buy, that ain't gonna add one more fan to your roster. Are they good records or bad records? I don't know. But we're talking about the business side of it. And you might say, yeah, but look at the views, look at the attention. Okay, but are they getting attention from buyers? Or are they just getting attention from a bunch of weird people who like controversy and foolishness? No different than you posting pics of you with your butt up or with your butt out or with your back out. Are you getting customers or are you getting a bunch of weirdos in your DMs? Because if you're getting a bunch of weirdos in your DMs, now you got to address that. And in the process of addressing that, you are not able to cater to your customer. So not only is it not going to buyers, now you have to address the fact that the people who are giving you attention aren't buyers. The same thing happens when you lower your price. I'm going to give you a little bonus piece here. The same thing happens when you lower your price. I had a client one time. We were going back and forth about whether or not to lower the price or not. And I got outvoted. Because again, even though I am, a coach and advisor, I can't make you do anything. But again, we were going back and forth about price. I got outvoted. So they decided to do this price cut payment thing. So we do the price cut payment thing. And guess what happens? You get a whole bunch of people who aren't your customers who are only buying it because it's cheap, who are only buying it because it's on sale, not because they really need it, not because they really want it. And what happens then is now all of those people who buy it, they need such a huge return on their investment that they become pains in the butt. So you're like, man, got a small team. I'm gonna give you a good deal. So now the person you give a good deal to, they want to micromanage you. Why? Because they really not your customer, and they don't know how this is supposed to go. And because they don't know how this is supposed to go, they have these crazy ideas that you're supposed to give them $1 million return on a $3 investment. So now they want to have all of these extra things. You know, if you're a caterer, my caterers at home, y'all know. You know, you get somebody a play, and then all of a sudden they want to do 10 times as much for that $300, and you're like, no, that's like a $3,500 deal. That's not a $300 deal. But now because you're engaged with them, now because they got you, now because they got access to you, what happens? They work your nerve. Which is really what happened to J. Cole. He was like, man, I'm attracting all these weird people and all this weird energy, and it's messing with my peace. So let me get up out this disc game and let you people deal with that over there on your own. So again, as a small business owner with a small team, as a person who's the business, solopreneur, somebody who's basically the management and the sales and the marketing and HR and their best salesperson, you have to stay on brand because you really don't have extra hours. You got the same 24 as everybody else. So you cannot afford to attract a bunch of people that ain't going to do business with you. You cannot afford to entertain a bunch of people who ain't going to do business with you. And you can't attract people who only want to do business with you because you're cheap. You know, you're seeing if you stay on brand and you stay on task, that you become uncancelable. You know, because now, even if the world wants to cancel you, your core customers don't, because they need you, they want you. They're going to stay with you. Why? Because you're continually solving their problems. Because you give them the best chance of winning. Because you're the one who makes it easier, simpler, better for them to do whatever it is they're trying to do. So let's do a little quick recap. Okay. You want to make sure that you're in business with your customers, that you're catering to your customers, that you're creating content for your customers, that you're reaching out to your customers and closing as many of them as you can, obviously. And you do that by continually giving them what they need. You know, if you're a small business owner with a small team, man, go to growandrich.com. You know, there's tons of articles, there's tons of videos, everything that you need to run a business by yourself or almost by yourself. You know, because if you're a small business owner with a small team, you still got people counting on you. You still got people who are going to call you up and need money. You still got bills to pay. You still got mortgage on the first of the month. And if you aren't selling because you're working, then who's managing sales? Let me repeat that again. Who's in charge of recruiting new business and closing business? How much time do they spend doing it? How well do they do it? Okay. And if you're a solopreneur or a small business owner with a small team, that person's you. So if you're in charge of recruiting new business and closing business, and you're in charge of doing the actual work, deliverables and things of that nature, and filling out all of the paperwork and creating all the content, something's gonna slip through the cracks. And for the majority of us, we're small business owners with small teams, it's the sales. You know, maybe we create content. All right, cool. You know, I got some content out there, but is it the right content? Number one. But even if the content is getting you people, is it getting you good people? People who want to give you money. People who are ready to buy. People who will refer you other people. Or is it just getting you a bunch of headaches? Because again, I'll go back and I'll tell that story again. You know, we wanted to go cheaper and create this payment plan. And all they did was bring a bunch of people who really weren't our customers, who created a whole bunch of chaos, who kept us from serving the people who really were our customers. You know? So if you're at home and you think about lowering your price, imagine what comes with that. You know, sometimes you just gotta do a better job of serving who you're meant to serve, and stay out of the trends and stay out of the fray, so to speak. You know, because think about it: the same people who shop at a dollar store are not the same people who shop at Macy's. Same people shopping in Macy's are not the same people who shop, you know, in some of your high end boutiques. And you know, like I know, there's levels to this. So you got to figure out what level you want your business to be on. And if you want to be the cheapest, now you're going to deal with a bunch of people who might not be the easiest to deal with. You know, who if something breaks, they want to return it immediately. Why? Because they didn't really have the money to buy it in the first place. They only bought it because it was cheap. You know, always go back to when I worked in. I'll just say it. Always go back to when I worked at Foot Locker. You know, we would have people come in and they buy Jordans and they buy Air Force Ones, and then they want to bring them back. Why? Because once the newness wore off, they weren't able to get that same level of respect. So now what are they trying to do? They're trying to bring them back, say, hey man, they're cracking, they're creasing. Why? Because they need them to stay new. And when they're not new looking anymore, they don't have money to replace them with another pair. Whereas somebody who's got money to buy multiple pairs, them things wrinkle, they just throw them away, give them away, and pull out a fresh pair. Now, which one of those people do you want as a customer? Do you want a guy who comes in and buys four, and then when those four wear out, he brings in You know, he bring in a couple of his homies and they all buy four more pair of piece? Or do you want somebody who buys one pair, wears them two times, then the first time they crinkle, back in your face going, hey man, look at these, look at these, look at these. So you really have to be very careful when you start to put together your plan of who you're trying to attract as a customer. Because if you're attracting people as customers who realistically are not your customer, and you're attracting all this weird energy and all of these people who just really don't know how it is to do business with you, it just creates more headaches. You know, again, there are people who I do business with and they give me thousands of dollars and they just chill. They good. Do your thing, doc. I'm just gonna get out your way. Then there are other people who sometimes maybe I give them a play and they're on the phone every 15 minutes. Got a question about this. Got a question about that. When are we gonna do this? When are we gonna do that? Can you do this? You know, and they have no regard for me. So if you're attracting people who have no regard for you, how hard is it going to be for you to do business? Especially when you're a small business owner, solopreneur, somebody who's only got three or four people. Do you really have time for the same person to call you 15 times a day? For the same person to expect that, for their small investment to get the same thing as somebody who pays you 10 times as much? How's that going to affect your business? How's that going to affect your peace? Again, I go back to J. Cole. J. Cole's like, man, this is messing with my peace. I got all these weird folks with this weird energy, who are here for the foolishness and the chaos. I don't want that. So I'm going to apologize. I'm going to bow out. I'm going to let you guys deal with that. And the number one reason to do that is first and foremost to protect your peace. But number two, man, is if these people are not affecting your bottom line in a positive way, why are you entertaining them in the first place? Makes no sense. You can't. There was a TikTok, I guess, a few years ago. Do you have some money for me? Do you have an opportunity? So again, why am I listening to you if you can't cut a check? So that's why the Trumps and the J. Coles continue to do what they do because they're only talking to people who move the needle. Trump's like, hey, I don't care about you guys. I only care about the people voting for me. Okay. For all the rest of you, go somewhere. For the people who are going to vote for me, hey, man, I'm going to make America great again. Hey, this is all a bunch of scandals. Hey, man, you can't believe the media because he only talking to his people. So you can learn from that. Now, I'm not telling you to be Trump. I'm telling you to learn how successful people do things and do those things. Now, there were a ton of companies who did not engage in the Me Too's and the alphabet communities and the cancel culture. You know what they did? They doubled down on their ability to serve their customers. You know, they doubled down on their ability to create easier, faster, simpler, less stressful ways for the people who are giving them money to get the thing that they want. They didn't engage in online beef. They didn't put out a bunch of fake statements. They didn't take a bunch of pictures. They doubled down on the thing that they do. They kept the main thing the main thing. And that was how we help our customers get to the end faster than anybody else, get to the finish line faster than anybody else. And you know what they saw? They saw record numbers. Why? Because they kept the main thing the main thing. And the main thing was how do we serve our customers? Why am I talking to everybody when I should just be talking to you? I'm only talking to small business owners with small teams who are adults. You're a small business owner with a small team, meaning, hey, man, you need your website to close. You need your emails to close. You need your social media to recruit. You need to be able to hire and fire top talent and get rid of talent that does not work. Why? Because if you're a small team and 25% of your workforce isn't working, that's going to affect your bottom line. I only got 5 people. Two of them people are trash. That's almost 60% of my sales force. That's almost 60% of my employees. So if I got two bad employees, that's gonna keep us from making money. That's gonna keep us from meeting our deadlines. That's gonna keep me stressed out. That's gonna keep me having to work and never being able to do things that I really need to do for my family. So why would I have two people out of the five people I have taking money out of my mouth instead of putting money in my pocket? Again, small business owner, small team, adult. You got people who count on you. Parents, grandparents, kids, grandkids, spouses, sisters, siblings. You got people who count on you. So you need to be able to close. Keep it a buck. You know, if you keep getting appointments and they keep saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna circle back to you." Okay, well, we got a couple other people we want to talk to. How does that help you? Like, girl, I got 4 appointments today. Yeah, but I didn't get none of them. I didn't get any work out of it. What good is that? I went over 4. So we have to be able to close. Because if you can't close, after doing all of this work, all of this proposaling, all of this meeting, and all of this PowerPointing, and all of this stuff, and then you got, well, we'll get back to you. Man, you know how many man hours that stuff takes that you can't get back? So you got to be able to close. So again, if you need the website to close, if you need the email to close, if you need to learn how to be a better closer, if you need your social media to recruit, if you need somebody to teach you how to interview potential freelancers that you can then bring onto your business and partner with and grow your business, go over to growingrich.com. Now, I can show you all of that. Make it easy for you to make money. Make it less stressful for you to have a business. And get you to your financial goals quicker, easier, with less stress. People start seeing results the same day, first meeting. You know, met a client last week. I think it might have been Tuesday. By Friday, man, she was like, man, I got like 4. 15, 20-minute conversation turned into 4 people. By the second conversation, we had a plan on how to take those same 4 people and get them to buy 3 times as much. Your business coach doing that? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. So, again, small business owners with small teams who happen to be adults, who identify as adults, who have people counting on them that they can't tell no. Mama call you, you can't tell her no. Your kid call you, tell you, hey man, they need me to move out the dorm tomorrow. You got to be able to go get them. If you got no money in your account, you can't get on that road and go to Alabama, Tennessee, wherever your kids are at school, Virginia. You can't buy that flight. And who wants to be the person who has to tell their kids no? You know, get your business running right. Get your people in place so you can go pick your grandkids up from school, take them out for some ice cream. You know, get your business right. Mother's Day is coming up. You want to be able to give a good gift. Father's Day coming up. Want to be able to give a good gift. Graduations are coming up. You want to be the guy, mama, and the auntie that you're supposed to be. But if your business is struggling, how you gonna do that? So again, we can't engage in beef and dissing and all that stuff because there's no money in it. It's money in it for people who own the platforms, but ain't no money in it for the artist. Ain't no money in it for the business owner. Business owner got to be focusing on customers. Shout out to JCole. Took a lot of courage to do what he did, but it was a beautiful business decision because I guarantee you, if he makes more records for the people who actually give him money, he'll continue to make money. That's the bottom line. But as always, man, this has been another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Adult Small Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, best-selling author, Sadon Long, a.k.a. your business big bro, a.k.a. the most dangerous man in marketing, a.k.a. Mr. Better Than Your 401k. Make sure you go over to growingrich.com and click that Just Get Started button, and you can get a free 30 with me. Hey, man, the free 30 that I took with a client last week, man, whew, 3 days later, she had 4. 4. Could you do, could you use 4 new customers this week? Just saying. Give me a call. As always, man, I love you, and I'm out. As always,